Bud Light is really feeling the heat right now, and they really can't stop putting themselves back in the fire. Every single time it seems like, they might be disavowing Dylan Mulvaney. Maybe they've actually learned their lesson. They've apparently fired. I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying there was never a third-party marketing agency, but apparently if there was a third-party marketing agency, they have now been fired. They placed their VP of marketing on leave. They placed the VP of marketing's boss on leave, the person who hired that VP of marketing that apparently came up with the idea for the Dylan Mulvaney advertisement. They fired a bunch of people, and I think there's going to be more firings in the future once more and more numbers come out, once these bigger grocery stores, gas stations, things like that don't end up restocking on their big restocks that Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch are expecting to always come in to be kind of a recurring charge for them. Whenever they don't restock because nobody's buying the beer, then it's really going to hurt, and the shareholders are going to need people to be held accountable. So not only do we have a 26% drop already, but I think it's going to get even worse, which is absolutely insane. Let's try to shoot for a 50% and see if we can get it there. It would be it's a very high bar to hit, but it is somewhat possible. I mean, who knows? Who knows how high we can go at this point? But here we have an article from the Daily Mail. It says he still doesn't get it. Anheuser-Busch CEO blames social media misinformation for Bud Light boycott, which has led to 26% drop in sales, as he insists Dylan Mulvaney partnership was one post, not an advertisement. It definitely was an advertisement. It was one post, and then you got boycott and you stopped it. You halted it. Who knows what else they had planned for Dylan Mulvaney? I don't think you paid Dylan Mulvaney $100,000 or maybe more. I don't know how much they paid him, but it was at least $100K or somewhere around that ballpark. That's what Dylan Mulvaney gets paid for these ads. You don't pay him just for that one little ad, for that one little can to make a couple videos. You probably were going to use them even more, and you probably stopped because you saw the boycott coming. You saw all these people getting really angry. You saw the outrage, and your fan base was not having it at all. So they completely halted that whole campaign. I'm sure there was going to be more, but I guess we'll never know. The CEO of Anheuser-Busch has continued to deflect the blame for Dylan Mulvaney fiasco and claims social media misinformation triggered boycott of Bud Light, sending sales crashing 26%. That misinformation word it's lost all its meaning, man. It's like every time somebody doesn't agree with what's happening, with the narrative that's happening, oh, it's just misinformation. You can't just use it for every single thing. Like, just because something's happening that you don't agree with, something's happening that doesn't benefit you, doesn't make it misinformation. There is no misinformation. You hire Dylan Mulvaney to partner with Bud Light, to partner with Anheuser-Busch, and people don't like it. Your consumer base that you've built up over all these years, your consumer base doesn't like the fact that you are partnering with Dylan Mulvaney, and we live in a capitalistic society, so you're going to get boycotted because people don't agree with that. And we have to, unfortunately, you are being used as the example to all these other brands. I've said it a million times. I don't care about an apology from Anheuser-Busch. Screw an apology from Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch. I don't care about that. This is about setting an example to all these other beer brands and all these other corporations around the world, beer or not. This is about setting an example to all of them that if you platform people like Dylan Mulvaney or anyone similar, then you could risk the chance of getting boycotted just the same. That's the thing. That's the thing that we're trying to do here, is make it a deterrent. Make this example into a deterrent for all these other brands doing similar things, or maybe even hiring Dylan Mulvaney himself. That's what this is about. Unfortunately for you, it has to be Anheuser-Busch that is this example. He blamed misinformation and disinformation that was spread online for making people believe cans with Mulvaney's face were being rolled out for sale across the US. I don't think anybody thought that. I mean, maybe some people thought that. Maybe I originally thought that. I can't even remember. At first, I thought it was an April Fool's joke because the thing happened on April 1st. So I don't know. I don't know if I thought that or not, but I think it's kind of besides the point here. Like, it doesn't really matter if the cans are being rolled out or not. I think that would probably make it a little bit worse if the cans were actually rolled out. But I mean, I don't think it matters. You still partnered with Dylan Mulvaney, which is spitting in the face of these fans, of these consumers that you've built up over all these years, thinking, you donate to the Republican Party, you're always pro-America. You released that Clydesdale ad right after this whole situation happened. And you had the dude raising the American flag. You had good old American handshakes. You had the Clydesdales. Like, that's what everybody thought Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch were for all these years. And then you just spit in everybody's face who thought that that's what you were. You donate to Republicans, you have all these American ads, it's America's beer, all this other BS, and then you hire Dylan Mulvaney to be a partner. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if Dylan Mulvaney's cans were going to be in stores or not. It doesn't matter. You still hired Dylan Mulvaney to be a partner to your company, and we live in a capitalistic society. So people don't like it and you get boycott and you lose 26% of your sales, probably going to be even more. I'm hoping. We need to keep this conversation going. The best thing you can do to keep this going is to please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and leave your comments on how far you think the sales will end up dropping for Bud Light. I don't know. I think it could go 35% maybe. I'm hoping it can go to 50, but who knows, man? Who knows how high we can go at this point? I didn't think we'd get to this point. It's definitely a very successful boycott so far. Sales rolled out across the US only when one souvenir can has been produced and sent to the influencer to mark the 1-year anniversary of his transition from male to female. Jesus, dude. Even the fact that you sent, I didn't even think of that they sent him a can to celebrate 1 year of womanhood. I thought it was just like they were just trying to go after his TikTok followers. They sent him a can to celebrate his 1 year of womanhood. That makes it even worse. That's even worse than you putting the cans in stores. Like that's a total spit in the face of all of your fans, of all of your consumers. A total spit in the face. It is just the latest excuse Anheuser-Busch executives have made for the calamitous advertisement after previously saying it was created by an outside ad agency and nobody in the company were aware of the campaign, despite 2 of Bud Light's marketing executives stepping down in the aftermath. Ducaris told the Financial Times over the weekend, people often talk about this topic in social media like noise. You have one fact and every person puts an opinion behind the fact, and then the opinions start to be replicated fast on each other in every comment. By the time that 10 or 20 people put a comment out there, the reality is no longer what the fact is, but is more about what the comments were. The fact is, you partnered with Dylan Mulvaney. There's nobody that's adding opinions, that's adding comments in there that changes that and makes that any worse. It doesn't need to be any worse than that. It doesn't need to be that you were putting the cans in stores. It doesn't need to be that. All, in my opinion, all this has to be is you partnered with Dylan Mulvaney, you platformed Dylan Mulvaney, a person that is very harmful to the youth, that has 10 million followers on TikTok, that doesn't need to be platformed any more than he already is. He's very harmful as it is. And then you platform him, being the company that you are, America's beer, as you like to call yourself. Partnering with Dylan Mulvaney is bad enough. It doesn't need to be any worse than that. You deserve to lose 26% or more of your sales just based on the fact that you partnered with Dylan Mulvaney. It is what it is. You made the mistake. Now own up to the mistake and stop trying to blame it on this telephone game, this fictional telephone game that you think is going on here. There is none. You partner with Dylan Mulvaney, you lose 26% of your sales. That's how this works. The global CEO added, "We never intended to make it for general production and sale for the public. It was one post. It was not an advertisement." That's more than enough. One post is much more than enough. You don't need it to be for general production and sale for the public. That it doesn't need to be that. One post is more than enough. And the fact that the CEO is still coming out and saying stuff like this and hasn't learned yet that people are actually pissed, people aren't taking lightly to this whole situation, that you're losing tons and tons of sales because you refuse to acknowledge your mistake. Just acknowledge the mistake, and I'm sure a lot of people would go back. I wouldn't go back, and I don't think you should either. But if they came out and said, yeah, we messed up having Dylan Mulvaney, we're sorry, we won't do it again, we won't platform anyone like that ever again, I'm sure they would get a ton of consumers back. I'm sure a ton of people would start buying Bud Light again, and the situation would probably die out. I would keep making videos on it because I don't think that an apology should change anything. Like I said, for me, this is about setting an example as a deterrent to all these other brands, all these other corporations. But let me know what you guys think, though. What do you think about the CEO, the Anheuser-Busch CEO, coming out and speaking once again and still not getting it right? He still doesn't get it, as the Daily Mail article says right here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about the CEO of Anheuser-Busch speaking out about the Bud Light boycott once again.